So one of the common questions that Naomi and I often get is, "Will you be my mentor?" Naomi, how do you how do you respond to that situation? What advice would we give folks?
It's changed over the years. And what I've noticed is that my answer does tend to change depending on how busy I am. So, considering that you or whoever's listening might be about to ask that question to someone who might be even busier than I am, or Jen is, or you are, I would optimize for me at my busiest, which is when people ask me that, my inner self is thinking, oh no, I'm going to disappoint them simply because I'm not going to have the time or potentially the energy. And what I've learned to start saying to people more recently as I've gotten busier is, what specifically are you looking for? Let's see if we can figure that out. And then, depending on what they're looking for, I can give them a much more productive answer. Yeah. How about you? How do you answer?
Well, it's interesting because I mean, when somebody just comes to you with a really broad question of "Will you be my mentor?" You're putting a burden on me,
Yeah.
right? What am I mentoring you in? What are you looking for? Like, did somebody
Am
just
I
tell you that
signing
you
up
need a
for a
mentor and you
lifelong relationship?
exactly. It's like somebody said, "Hey, you need a mentor," and you thought, "Oh, well, I would love to chat with her, so I'm just going to ask." Like, but it's a really broad ask, and so
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
tax on me to even try to figure out what you want.
yeah,
And the reality for me right now is I just don't have bandwidth to take any more mentees. So
yeah.
the advice that I actually usually give folks though is an approach that I heard from an EVP at Amazon probably about 6 years ago now, and I've actually used this approach myself
Ooh,
several times. It's this idea of three meeting mentors.
mm,
So get very specific. You want to learn a new skill. Let's say that you want to learn finance, right? You want to learn how to read a P&L, or you want to better understand your budget, right?
yeah,
Get really specific. Go find an expert in that space. Approach them and say, "Hey, I've heard that you are the expert on like learning how to read budgets and understand, how to maneuver that. I would love to learn from you. Can I meet with you 3 times, 30 minutes a time over the next,
mm,
time box it. So over the
yeah,
next month. In the first meeting, you'll share with me your secrets, how you do it, your rules, your approach. In the second meeting, I'll come share with you the problem that I'm trying to solve and what I heard from you and how I think it can apply.
mm,
And in the third meeting, I'll follow up, like how I'm applying your advice, how I'm better applying your rules, figure out where you might be able to help me get even better, like that kind of thing, right? But like be very specific in your
mhm,
approach. Keep it keep it time boxed,
yeah,
and you'll be amazed. Like I have done this with CVPs at Microsoft and I've done it twice and I've gotten yeses both times because you're so specific and you're so respectful of their time. Like they know it's not going to go and on and on and on forever. So like that's a really great way to get some mentorship and learn something new
yeah.
in a very kind of fast way as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about that approach too, in addition to making it specific enough that they know what they're signing up for, is the clarity in the way that you structure the building of the relationship. The first time you're going so that you can learn from them. The second time you're going with a specific ask about what you're trying to learn based on what you're getting into the field or a skill set or what you learn from them. And the third is what I love the most, which is, and here is how I have applied what I have learned in this mentorship relationship, which I think is one of the most underrated components of being a mentee. Whenever a mentee has reached out to me with, here's how this worked, it absolutely makes my day. It's so energizing to know that your experience is somehow helping other people. And yeah, I just want to like double underscore amplify what you said. Hearing that too, my first reaction was like, if someone said, can I set up 3 meetings over the next month for 30 minutes? I would feel a little bit stressed right now. My schedule is just a little bonkers. One of the things that I've noticed that I've started doing over the last year or so is asking people specifically, like, hey, can I set up 25 minutes with you? And here's the question that I would like to ask you. And then just have it be a one and done, and have it let them know upfront what they're getting in for or into. Let them know the question that I'm going to be asking them, so that even if they're not consciously thinking about it, they've got it kind of going in the back of their mind. They know I'm showing up with a question. I'm not putting the burden on them. I think you absolutely nailed that when you talked about making sure that they know they're not going to have to do all the heavy lifting or the work. And then based on how that 25 minutes goes, sometimes I'll have a follow-up or something, but I'll also get a sense of how the relationship feels. Is it back and forth? Does it seem like something that they left with more energy than they arrived? Does this feel like maybe we connected? And then, but even so, if I do a follow up, I do include that specific, and here's why I'm following up, and here's what I'm specifically asking. So I think the overlap that you and I have is we're both very specific and deliberate and clear in our communications about what we're asking for. We're not asking that general, will you be a mentor? We're asking, will you help me in this way for this time?